How very sorry I am to miss your 50-year homecoming. The class of 1958 was one of my favorite classes. I joined the history department in the spring of 1955 when President Gill told the dean, Sturge Odell, known as Digger Odell for some reason, to pack up and get out, and installed Lou Warner in his place. I took over all of Lou's courses on one day's notice, including 2 sections of Western Civ. You remember we met in a classroom in Slocum Hall. You were freshmen then. We call them fresh persons now. Some of you were sitting in that classroom. For example, Keith Argo and Susan Millison. Lou was such a popular professor, you greeted me with some hostility. 4 years later, you were my first graduating class. I remember that senior sneak day well. Judy Reed gave me her hat to wear. I think I recited some slightly smutty limericks when we weren't singing songs. The college looked different then. Many old landmarks have disappeared. Lenox House, Perkins Hall, Coburn Library, West and East Halls, Hagerman Hall, which I was warned never to walk by at night, and the Pit and Palmer Hall, Campus Queens, homecoming floats, cheerleaders, the Tiger Club, the variety show, 8 o'clock classes, including Saturday classes, the Colorado College fight song. You remember how that began. When Colorado's seamen fall in line. Of course, many of the faculty members you knew are gone too. I was a young Turk then, so was Neil Reinitz. Now I am the very old guard, to say the least. How I remember those days. I remember Judy Reed, Paula Erickson, and Jelly Jelstrup were Sally Payne Morgan's special girls. They led the move to make the student government more representative of the college as a whole. In my Freedom and Authority class, in your senior year, we sang an old hymn, "He's got the whole wide world in his hands." When David Jenkins skated an encore in an ice show at the Ice Palace, he did it to that song. I remember the sad days when Nancy Cunningham and Paula Erickson broke up with their man friends. I remember the disputed election in which Keith Argo was involved. We sat outside on the deck at my house trying to figure out what he should do. I remember sitting in the east end of the Ice Palace and watching an opposing player stick a butt of his stick in the small of Red Hay's back every time the teams turned to go up the ice in the other direction. As I remember, Red got him later in the game. The college looks different now, but in many ways, it is still the same. We're still trying to prepare our students to play constructive roles in a turbulent world. The challenges were somewhat different then. The growing danger of the Cold War, for example. New times present new challenges for present students and for alums as well. We had a mutual challenge, you and I, to take and use well what we learned from liberal education, you as students and I as teacher. Now we have an additional responsibility because we have had the benefit of long experience in the real world. I was a veteran of the Second World War and was active in politics. You have had a wide variety of experiences. Now, 50 years later, we are challenged anew to use what we learned from our association with Colorado College and our experiences in the real world and apply them to pressing problems of our time: war and peace, the vexatious energy and financial crises, global warming, the problems of healthcare and poverty, and on and on. We are equipped to do that because this great college gave us a platform of knowledge and values on which to stand. At the end of my course in recent U.S. history, which the students used to call Bend the Knee to Franklin D. in recent U.S. history, I always used to say that I didn't care if they became Democrats or Republicans, which was not exactly true, but I did hope they would be actively involved in public affairs with a sense of compassion for those less fortunate, who, but for the accident of birth and the grace of God, might be ourselves. Now I think that about you and about myself. How I wish I could share this reunion with you. Think that I will be thinking hard about you in faraway China on homecoming day.